They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
Not entitled to the sweat of his brow. No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose rapture.
You sick fuck, let me out of there!
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sand and watches the ships that go sailing. Beyond the sea, she's there watching for me. If I could fly like birds on high, then straight to her arms I'd go sail. Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sand and watches the ships that go sailing. Beyond the shore, we'll kiss just as before. Happy we'll be beyond the sea, and never again I'll go sailing. Beyond the shore, we'll kiss just as before. Happy we'll be beyond the sea, and never again I'll go sailing. No more sailing.
Carl and Damon here from Games, Brains and Headbanging Life, gbhbl.com for short, and it's flashback time as we'll go on to a more modern game, but quite old now. as of 2021, it is Bioshock. 2007 first-person shooter game developed by 2K Boston, who would later become Irrational Games, and 2K Australia, and published by 2K Games. It's a 2K thing. It's the first game in the Bioshock series. The game is considered a spiritual successor to the System Shock series, on which many of Irrational teams, including Ken Levine, had worked on previously. Bioshock is set in 1960. The player guides the protagonist, Jack, after his airplane crashes in the ocean near the bathysphere terminus that leads into the underwater city of Rapture. Built by the business magnate Andrew Ryan, the city was intended to be an isolated utopia, but the discovery of Adam, a genetic material which can be used to grant superhuman powers, initiated the city's turbulent decline. Jack tries to find a way to escape, fighting through hordes of Adam-obsessed enemies and the iconic deadly Big Daddies, which are engaging with a few sane humans that remain and eventually learning of Rapture's past. The player as Jack can defeat foes in several ways by using weapons, utilising plasmids that give unique powers, and by turning Rapture's defences against enemies. It was released for Microsoft Windows and the Xbox 360 in August 2007. A PlayStation 3 port by Irrational was released in October 2008, so PlayStation had to wait over a year for it. And an OS port in October 2009. A scaled-down mobile version was developed by IG Foam, which contained the first few levels of the game. I looked for it, couldn't find it. Because I was like, I've got to try that.
How would it work?
Since its release, a direct sequel has been released, Bioshock 2, as well as a third game titled Bioshock Infinite by Irrational Games. A remastered version of the original game was released on Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in September 2016 as part of Bioshock The Collection. So you could buy Bioshock, Bioshock 2 and Bioshock Infinite in a collection. Yeah. So as always, things we like, things we don't like, favourite moments, scenes and bits of music. Damon, get started with something you like. Should be easy.
It was easy, but I'm reading my three now and I haven't done it justice.
Okay, all right.
So, I mean, I've gone for the obvious one, the story. The story is absolutely fantastic, you know. And I'm going to do one thing you hate when I compare it to the book. Okay, I love the book too, but I'm just going to find out the book's fantastic.
Yeah.
Follows the story brilliantly, in my opinion. But I mean, yeah, going back to the game, the story is just fantastic. You know, I mean, the whole Andrew Ryan and obviously the character he played, Jack, and obviously Frank Fontaine, yeah. Fontaine, just overall brilliant.
So, I have it differently. I don't think the story is fantastic. I think the story's good. What I think is fantastic is the world that was built, the creation, Rapture, and that. The imagery and the thoughts it creates in your mind kind of fill in a lot of the blanks of the story itself. Rapture, it's Rapture. That to me is what the beauty is. That underwater utopian city and why it exists. You know, we won't be slaves to fucking big government and stuff like that. That's what I love. Yeah.
I'll go for the level obvious one, the graphics.
Yeah.
I mean, this the world itself is absolutely beautiful.
It's very pretty.
Just looking out into the world, and you can see the fish, and it just looks amazing.
Yeah, the remastered version as well really ups that as well, because obviously it's better looking. The perfect blend of gunplay and plasmids. I think Bioshock nails this. The two-handed system. Well, one hand would be a plasmid and the other is a gun. The guns are weighty. It's a variation from pistols to machine guns to shotguns, whereas your plasmids offer a wider variety of shooting lightning, ice, fire, like bees, shit like that. I love, one of the things we always remember Bioshock 4 is that combination. Yeah. And I think it's brilliant, yeah.
I've only got one more level, so I haven't done it justice enough. But I've gone for enemies, and by enemies I mean like the interaction with the enemies. Like I remember one specifically, like where you're coming around the corner, and you see a shadow of like a woman crying over her baby, and then when you get closer, it's like bloody like
she's gone.
Yeah, she's gone, and then there's like a little door and the bloody.
That's right, there's a door in it, and you turn around, and like when you go to turn around to leave, she's standing right in front of you.
Yeah, it's proper, really creepy and really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Not enemies per se, although I totally second what you're saying about the splicers. Big Daddies. I mean, their introduction in the game is really cool. They're automatically said a bit terrifying, but yeah, Big Daddies. I mean, that's such they're so cool. You know what I mean? Like it's a Big Daddy.
When you first see it beats the crap out of Splicer.
On the other side, that's it. Yeah, yeah, that's your first clue about the danger behind them. Another thing I think the game combines really well, and it's weird. You kind of said it, but that's a horror scene. So there are horror stuff in this. Combine that with action. Remember the part where you have to go deal with the crazed doctor? That is horror. That is a horror area. That and the action, I think they combine the two. I think by the latter part of the game, it's just action. But when it does do horror, it does it quite well.
Yeah, definitely.
Last but not least, audio logs that play as you play. Now that's fantastic. So you don't get, your gameplay doesn't get interrupted. Your sound drops in the game so you can hear the audio logs clearly. And the reason why you want to be listening to audio logs and having them play is because they fill in so much of the story and the history of Rapture. And so by making it so you can pick them up, they play automatically, and you continue to play the game while you're hearing it.
Yeah.
I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, things you don't like then. Let's have it.
I've got absolutely nothing. I mean, I can't think of anything that I thought of this game.
Well then.
I'm gonna be interested to see what you got.
Well, come on, people. We all know what's instant negative. The final boss sucks. Frank Fontaine, giant blue Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen, is a crap final boss. You just shoot him, and then he goes back to get his power back. So you inject him with Adam until he dies. It's a crap end boss.
I didn't think about actually yet.
There we go. There's one. Second. You know there's two endings, right?
Is there?
Yeah, there's one where you can, if you choose to kill all the little sisters and take the Adam,
Oh yeah. Okay,
or
yeah.
if you save them.
Yeah.
And those two endings really meant nothing. It doesn't change anything. All it is one that he dies old and little sisters are all grown up around him, and the other is that, you know, he arrived and he was mean. They were like his slaves and stuff like that. What they do? Last but not least, unfortunately, and some may disagree with this, it's the highest point of the franchise. It's the high point. The bar was set. Bioshock 2, I like, but it's not as good. And Bioshock Infinite, I like, but it's not Bioshock. And that's always going to be the case, I think.
I agree with that. Yeah. So I mean, the third one wasn't my favourite. It's definitely 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 3. Yeah.
Oh, it's 1, 3, 2 for me.
Oh, really? I like
Yeah, 1, 3, Infinite, because of obviously being in the sky and the differences, and that really hits home for me. Whereas 2 just follows the first one too much.
I enjoyed the online, and number 2 was pretty cool.
Yeah, same. But yeah, okay, right then. Favourite moments, scenes, bits of music. I've got a few.
I mean, favourite moments. There's loads to pick from. I mean,
Pick one.
I mean,
The first time you see Rapture.
yeah.
So it's that. When you're rising out of the bathysphere after going under water, and you go over that sort of mountain edge and you just see this city. I mean, that's amazing. Yeah.
I'm going to go for the Andrew Ryan reveal.
Of course, I have it.
Yeah.
It is gaming's best twist, in my opinion. No one saw it coming, and it's Would You Kindly. It's gaming's best twist. I don't think there's been a twist better in video games.
Nope.
Absolutely. And last but not least for me, fighting a Big Daddy. When it's time and you're like, okay. And after that, you'll be a lot more comfortable about it. But that first fighting a Big Daddy, and you'll go through so many health packs and ammo, and it still won't go down. And just fighting a Big Daddy.
Yeah.
I think that's such a cool moment because the game builds and builds and builds towards when it's finally got to happen. I think you need a part of a Big Daddy, so you're forced to have to deal with it.
Yep, definitely.
That's what it is. But there are so many more. Walking down a hallway and seeing like water pouring in the side, making you realise that, you know, Rapture is gonna fall.
Falling apart.
Yeah, gonna fall. Obviously the whole event occurs on, or like the uprising from Frank Fontaine or Atlas happens on New Year's Eve night. So when you go to the restaurant, you see all the decorations and what happened and stuff like that. Dealing with the first time we deal with a spider splicer, the ones that crawl on a fucking roof and stuff like that. You know, aspects like that I think are really, really good. Yeah, killing Andrew Ryan. You know, with the golf club.
Yep.
It seemed like he was your major villain. Next thing you know, he dies halfway through it.
I know.
You know, very cool. So many. It's Bioshock. It really is a legendary game. We know it. You know it. But let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?